It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, one day to the weekend. That means we are 3 days, 2.5 days closer to Mother's Day. That's right, Mother's Day weekend. How are we doing, everybody? Yes, it is showtime. It is time for the Geno Jones Daily Variety Show. I am live right here on my YouTube channel Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Here in the Carolinas, Charleston, South Carolina. 5:30 in Chicago, 3:30 out on the West Coast in Los Angeles. 6:30 Eastern Time in Detroit, Michigan. My weekly contributor, Miss Kelia Karson, who is a mom. She'll be joining me today. Got a very special show. We're going to salute. Today's going to be my personal salute to my mother and to all the moms and grandmas and moms to be out there. But first, let me just take care of a little business first. Please be sure moms and grandmas and moms to be and dads and everybody else, please like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, subscribe, and tag everybody you know. So like, share, and subscribe to my Geno Jones Show and the Geno Jones YouTube channel, all right? And thanks to all my new subscribers. I just happened to check it the other day, and it's gone up again since the inception, the beginning of the show in late September, early October. The growth has been incredible, and I thank you. Speaking of growth, if you'd like to be a sponsor, if you'd like to advertise, if you are looking for the king, not the king, the king of pitchmen, holla at your boy. Leave me a message right here on my YouTube channel. I'll give you some more information at the end of the show. Today is National Nurses Day. So a big salute and shout out to all of the nurses. Listen, nurses are heroes. Now, this day is very special and personal for me because my mother, before she had to retire because of health reasons, really her health retired her, she was a nurse. She worked in hospitals. She was a private duty nurse. She worked in people's homes. She would go with patients and she would stay in those homes with the elderly and infirmed. She would be contracted out for sometimes a week at a time, 2 weeks at a time. Once upon a time, she actually had her own nurses registry out of her house. So when it comes to being a nurse, she's done it all. I've seen it up close and personal. One thing that I've seen virtually with just about every nurse that I've known or seen. Nurses are special humans because to be a nurse, you have to have a level of humanity, compassion, empathy, caring, patience, and intelligence. Nurses, as a matter of fact, if you think about it, the people that spend the most time with people who are in the hospital, not the doctors, not the therapists, it's the nurses. It's the nurses that are there to hold the patient's hand. And sometimes in the last year, it was the nurses that were the last people to actually be with a loved one who passed away because of COVID-19. Families couldn't come to the hospital, and it was nurses who would sometimes even use their own personal cell phones and FaceTime or video call family members so they could have like the last conversation, last words to see their loved one for the last time before they transitioned. It was some nurses who were the only people who was in that sick person's life before they passed away. So nurses, I've always had a special appreciation and admiration, love and respect for nurses because nurses, you all really are. Like you said, you are very, very special people. And show me a good doctor, be it in an ER room, a specialist, a surgeon, your primary care doctor, when you go to the lab to get your blood work, show me a good doctor and I'll show you a good nurse because every good doctor that I know, he usually has a staff with good nurses. So on this National Nurses Day, we can't thank you enough. so many nurses. As a matter of fact, there were countless number of nurses, hundreds, maybe even in the thousands, who lost their lives in the last 15 months trying to save the lives of COVID-19 coronavirus patients, when many of those nurses didn't even know exactly what they were facing, and literally put their lives on the line, and like I said, unfortunately, in some cases, lost their lives, didn't have the proper PPE, the proper protection with gloves and just the whole, like I call them hazmat suits and masks, early on in the beginning of when the pandemic really hit us here in America, which was probably, some people may argue, as early as December of 2019, January, February, it was March, before basically America really woke up and shut down the country. But that's another conversation. So once again, thank you. Nothing but love. As Heavy D said, I ain't got nothing but love for you, baby. Got nothing but love for you, honey. Love and salute. On this National Nurses Day, we need to salute, shout out, and thank nurses every day. But today is a very special day, so salute to you. And speaking of salute and thank you, since we're talking about a salute and thank you, I'm going to honor all the mothers and grandmothers and mothers-to-be. My Mother's Day celebration here on the Geno Jones Show has begun, and is beginning right here and right now. And point of privilege, I bear that you just allow me to indulge just for a few minutes. Very, very special tribute to my mother, Mary Dixon, who was a nurse, who was so, and I know she's watching, so I just want to say, listen, Mother, thank you. You were an honor roll student. She attended the top academic high school in Chicago, fell in love, she got pregnant. Here I am. She was attending, like I said, the top academic high school in Chicago. They actually, in essence, they kicked her out of the high school because she got pregnant. She had to enroll in another high school. She's endured domestic violence that I've witnessed personally, even worse, that I found out about later as an adult. She basically began to drink. She told me a story, a very painful story as an adult, that the abusive marriage that she was in, the one which I witnessed when I attacked this person, this grown man. I was 4.5. She was pregnant with my baby sister, and this man decided he wanted to put hands on my mother in front of me. And I tried to tackle him. I literally ran and I attacked him, tried to tackle him and knock him down at 4.5. Then unfortunately, he got my mother away from Chicago. The abuse got worse. And she told me a story about one day there was some alcohol. I don't know what kind of alcohol it was, like liquor, not rubbing alcohol. And she told me the story about how one day she just opened a bottle of whatever the drink was, and she started drinking. And she said she did that because every day around 4:30, when she heard this key, when she heard the key in the lock, as the door began to open, she literally, the anxiety level got to a point to where she physically felt knots in her stomach, because she knew the moment that door opened that she was going to literally, not figuratively, literally have to fight for her life. And she said that's what started her and triggered her to drink. Fast forward, she's overcome that. She's overcome over 40 surgeries. She literally, without any patch or any hypnosis, she wouldn't hypnotize, she didn't have a patch, none of that. And she stopped smoking after decades, literally on her own. Unfortunately, to later on, to develop emphysema. She had been misdiagnosed for, who knows, many years. In like the mid-'80s, all of a sudden, they told her she had something called lupus that we had never heard. One of her doctors said that, and looked at her, I guess her medical records, and he looked at her And he's like, how are you even alive? Looking at your medical history, everything you've gone through. But to look at you, you don't look sick at all. She's gone through that. She's took care of her parents, who both passed away at home. She worked and took care of her parents. So she would go take care of other people's parents and loved ones, and then would have to come home and took care of her sick father and mother. And so many, she sacrificed so much for me and for my sisters, for me to be able to stand here in front of you and to look in a camera and to live out a dream, because she sacrificed and gave up so many of her dreams, where she had money saved for college, probably a year, 2 years, maybe more worth of tuition that my grandfather had literally saved up cash. A man who never brought home a paycheck, that had over $150, $200 a week as a tailor, working for a Jewish man that had a clothing store in Chicago. But my grandfather was smart. He was an entrepreneur. We didn't call him that. He didn't call himself that. We weren't familiar with that term. But he had 2 professional sewing machines, and he made suits and dresses at home. But my grandfather, I'm telling that story because he was very wise, and he had saved up all this money for my mother to go to college. And then she got pregnant with me. And all the money that was for her to go to college was used so I could stand here in front of you and tell you the story. Because it was a very complicated pregnancy. I was a breech baby, they told me. I didn't know what that meant. They said I was going toward her heart as opposed to going down. And she had to have an emergency C-section. As a matter of fact, they had to fly in a specialist from the Mayo Clinic in Minneapolis, Minnesota, to Chicago to save me and to save her. My grandfather, he didn't have health insurance, didn't have Obamacare. He was basically self-employed. And he had saved up all of this money. And that money, instead of going to college, it allowed me to come here. So I could never, ever, ever, if I had Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos' money, if I had $500 billion, that would never be enough to repay you for the sacrifice, the abuse, putting up with people and things that you didn't want to put up with, shouldn't have had to put up with, and wouldn't have had to deal with if it wasn't for the fact that you were trying to take care of not just me, but my 2 sisters. And I could go on, so I don't want to bore you, but on this day, a couple days early, since Sunday is actually Mother's Day, but today, right here on the Geno Jones Show, Mother's Day is right here, right now. So Mother, happy Mother's Day early. Love does not even describe the feeling of appreciation, gratitude. It doesn't, there has to be another word for love, because the feelings I have for you is much greater than that. The appreciation, the gratitude, I can't express it enough. Happy Mother's Day to my mother and to all the moms. Speaking of mothers and happy Mother's Day, I'm gonna bring her to the show. One of my regular weekly contributors, lovely and talented, versatile, cultural, I guess I call it like cultural critic. She's even more than that. You can't even like define the talents of this sister right here that I've known for a while. Coming to the show on this special Mother's Day and Nurses Day celebration, I bring to you a mom of a beautiful daughter whose mom is an angel with her wings up in heaven looking down on her baby girl, who she's very proud of. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Kelia Karson. Happy Mother's Day early, Kelia Karson. How you doing?
Thank you, Geno, and a happy Mother's Day to the mothers in your life. Just listening to your opening, I just reflect back on the times that you, Kathy, and I, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, is when Geno was hosting at a radio program or station in Detroit. And that's how we met. And I was his traffic reporter and co host, and Kathy Young Welch was the news director and the news anchor in the morning. And so Kathy and I don't think there was a day that went by that we did not know that you were trying to hunt down some catfish and call your mother after. So
She's right. Yep, she's
yeah.
right. It was not
and,
a.
and working out at the gym because
Yeah,
you like to work out,
yeah.
and but you had to speak with your mother every day.
Still
And
do.
I remember sometimes when you couldn't get back to Chicago, uh I could see the sadness
Yeah,
on your face. Like if we, may have had an event or something going on and you couldn't,
yeah.
make it out for the weekend. Because for people who don't understand radio, you are working sometimes Saturday, Sunday, and
Holiday.
yeah, for appearances. You may not be on the air, but you have to attend these things. And I just remember sometimes when you couldn't get back to Chicago, which listen, I think half of your salary went to.
You probably right, Key.
I don't know if we had frequent flyer miles back then, but if we did, you would have been right up there with Tom Joyner with the fly jock situation because you had to get home to see your mother. So I can attest to the closeness. And what I also wanted to add, as I pay a little homage and tribute to your mother, um, because of the way that your mother and your grandparents who assisted your mother raised you and your sisters, it's a trickle down effect in the good way. Um, the trickle down was that Kathy and I got to work in an environment where women were appreciated and heard and honored. And this is not to be taken lightly. Um, Even at that time, which, wasn't that long ago, women were still struggling and fighting in the workplace, as we still are. Um, and so it was nice to have our quarterback, as you taught me, um, our quarterback and the host looking out for the needs of his female counterparts. Um, that made working a lot easier, at least within our ecosystem. In the studio, we knew we were safe. We knew that if we said something on air that, may not have been as complimentary to a man, that you understood where we were coming from because of our experience and you didn't shut that down. Um, and it was important because our target audience was women,
Right.
25-54. And a lot of men hosting radio programs for women, 25-54, seem to somehow forget that was their audience. And you very much so understood who you were talking to, but also genuinely concerned about the people you were working with. So I thank you for, you know, um, honoring that feminine space for Kathy and I. And for me, it was so huge because I don't think you realize, I mean, I was 23, 24 at the time.
I didn't even, I didn't think about it,
Right,
Key. Yeah, I
right.
didn't, never. You were
Never
just, you were
thought
good
about it, but
at, you were good at what you did. So I didn't, that was irrelevant. It never, honestly, it's funny you say that it never crossed my mind.
see, the reason it mattered to me because you came along at a pivotal growth period for me. And so your mother's love for you and the way you honored your mother affected my growth. See, people don't realize that. when you get up in the morning and somebody says hello to you and you bark at them, we don't realize how the things that we do affect
That's
others.
true.
So your grandparents' love for your mother's love for you and your sisters, you and your respect and love for Kathy and I, it it just keeps going. It's reciprocal. And so, yeah, that was a very pivotal point in my life because I had to decide if I was going to be a shrinking violet and just do what a lot of the men around, in that environment told me to do, which they were telling me, or am I going to be like Geno suggests and be fearless and take some chances and do what trust your instincts and do what you got to do. And hey, if you bump your head, get up and do it again. But your opinion matters. What you have to say matters. And I was the young voice on the show. I wasn't even in the target demographic. That was very crucial time for me.
Well, you may not have been in the target demographic
Right.
based on the numbers on your birth certificate, but mentally and spiritually and emotionally, you were right in the heart.
Yeah.
So,
But I was still young, Gino.
yeah, no, I know, but listen. First of all, I didn't expect this, so you threw me a curve because all we've known each other for over 2 decades, and this is the first time I've ever heard you say something like that in terms of because I didn't think about it in terms of I didn't make a concentrated effort to try to empower you and
Yeah.
Kathy or women or to make a concentrated effort to be respectful. It's organic for me. That's just
Right.
that's who I
And
am,
that's
Key.
the
You know
point.
me. Yeah. So
That's the whole point. I mean, I watched how you treated Damaris and how you honored, we go back there,
yeah.
way back there.
yeah. Yeah.
Boogie. I watch how you honor Allie wasn't born yet,
Right.
but you know, I watched this and these were in part some of the things I would be looking for in other guys, whether it be men that I dated or men that I worked with, and I just took so much from it, like you said, organically, not even thinking about, um, how your upbringing affected me. That didn't come until later when I thought about it. I said, boy, because Gino's mother did this and his grandparents, this is how it affected me. And then I linked the chain. But yeah, so round of applause to your mom.
She's
Sis.
watching. She loves you. We've had this conversation off camera, so
Yeah.
but she remembered you in Detroit. I had a
Yeah.
big like welcome to Detroit party at
Yes.
the was it the Fox
Yes.
Theater? I never forget that, and I got a. I know you set up everything. Keela set it up. The mayor. It was like Geno Jones Day, and
Yeah.
I got a key to the city and some proclamation. I was like, what the heck? And my mother was able to come.
Yep.
She came. So she knowing you. So when I was able to get you to come back as a regular contributor, she was like, "Oh, I remember Keela." So she loves you and she was a big fan of yours. So
So I just wanted to make sure she knew that I'm a fan of hers and that her life affected my life.
wow. Well, I didn't
So
expect that you all. That wouldn't listen. That wasn't on the script. We don't even have a script.
no,
But that
yeah,
wouldn't. I listen. I'm humbled by that, Key, because that's really heavy and it's that's just a reflection, and I appreciate the way you beautifully framed and connected all of that. Because I'm to be honest, I never connected any of that, especially in terms of the environment that was just organic that I in no conscious way tried to create. It was just organic because that's who I am because I was raised that way. And I tell people all the time, my mother, they say, well, a woman can't teach a young man how to be a boy, how to be a man, but she can teach him how to be a better man. and my mother
Yes.
taught me how to
Yes.
be a better man.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
in a way, you all just benefited from
Yes.
that. I tell
Yes.
like my daughters, and I tell them, don't anything good about me, don't thank me, don't even give me credit. Give them credit because without them, I wouldn't be who I am today. So that's the that's probably an even better tribute that you gave her, and I thank you, my sister, because I
Yes.
did. I had no idea God works in mysterious ways because
Well, you
and
know
we
what I do.
yeah, and we're gonna have fun with it because that's what I
Yes.
wanted. I don't want it to be a heavy, too heavy, because there are a lot of folks, and we're about to honor your mom and all those wonderful mothers who are up in heaven. Damaris's mom, who are still, as a matter of fact, they may not be here physically, but they are here because their spirit is within you, your mother's spirit,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything she taught you, it is
Yeah.
in you. When you take a step, she's taking a step.
Yeah.
When I'm sure that you listen to yourself, probably talking to your daughter, or even conversations that we have, and you probably say, "Wow, I sound just like my
Yeah.
mother."
Well, listen, you said nicely, but sometimes I was like, hey, what? I swear to God, I wasn't gonna be her. And now look at me. I'm an identical twin.
So let's honor your mom. So tell
Yeah.
everybody your mom's name. We're gonna honor
So
your mom and talk about the influence that she had, and then you and I'll have some fun. We're gonna talk about some of the
yeah.
funny stories about growing up, and you can also not only we gonna tell stories, you can tell some funny stories about your mom, but being a mother with a
Yeah.
daughter.
Yeah. So my mother was Hattie Mae Perry. Lewis was maiden name, um, but her professional name was Hetty Perry. And I'm
I
like,
love it.
where did you get that from, Mama? Hetty. But she said there was an actress, Hetty Lamar.
Yeah, when you said that, I thought about that. I didn't want to say that. Yeah, okay.
And and you know what? To sum it up, that was my mother. I mean, a black woman naming herself Hetty was just my mother always tried to elevate. Um, but just to give you a little background, my mother was born the last of three children, and her parents both passed away before she was a year old.
Wow. Mm.
So my mother had in her mind, no concept of parents, parenting,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
In the traditional sense. So she kind of raised my sister and I have a younger sister, Mia, and she just kind of made it up as she went along. And listen, Gino, sometimes I would look at other families like, what, what's going on over there? Why aren't we like that?
But Key, let me jump in here. Let me
Yeah, go
apologize,
ahead.
but let me jump in here. This is why it's so important. This is an inflection point. It's so beautiful with the honesty that you just spoke of your mom in terms of kind of making it up on the fly. But I'm gonna be honest with you, even folks who may have been raised in a house with one or two parents,
Yeah.
and I bet I will get an amen for you. I bet you'll be in the amen corner for this. Being a parent now, when you become a parent, no matter what examples you may have seen, you learn that parenthood is something that you learn on the fly. Kids don't come in with like that operations. When you buy a car, you get an owner's manual. The kids don't
Right.
come in the world with an owner's manual and an operations guide. It is
Listen,
you.
you listen, you said a mouthful there because I tell my daughter all the time, oh well, look, I did
Right.
I'm sorry. You didn't die, so you're still here, so make the best of it, just like I had to. But I remember asking my mother one day. I was crying, right, and my mother, she grew up in Delray, Michigan, or it's a little subsection of the city of Detroit. But it's tough. And although when she grew up there, it was beautiful and whatnot, but she still grew up as a city girl. And my mother was about it. I mean, when Master P made that song, I said, "Oh, this is my mother." I'm about it. So my mother was no joke, and I was crying one day, and which was a no with my mother. But I said to her, I said, "Mom, she says, why are you crying, Keela?" And I said, "Well, because I wish I had grandparents." And she said, "Well, you have grandparents on your father's side." She said, "But what's the big deal?" And I said, "I'm upset because you're not upset." And she was like, it was really I shared this story because I want people to understand how practical my mother was. My mother said, "Keela, you can't expect me to feel bad about something I never knew."
Mm.
She said, "You have grandparents on your other side. So you know what it feels like to have parents, and all that. And you have me and you have your dad." And she said, "But I never had that." So she said, I don't I don't cry about it because I never knew him.
Yeah. You can't miss what you never had.
Right. And so
Wow.
I thought, "God, Mom, you sure are smart." And she said, And,
Yeah.
and you know what? People tell me all the time. People say, "Keela, you are such a logical person. You are so practical." And you said it too.
Yes, I have. And still say it.
And I get that from her. That's how she looked at life. She just, you roll with the punches. Something knocks you down, you get back up. She used to tell me, "You want to be on the radio, you want to be famous, you want to do this, that, and the other." She said, "You can do anything you want to do." I said, "Well, you can't do anything, Mama." She said, "Yes, you can." I said, "Walk to the moon." She said, "Oh, you can walk to the moon?" She said, "You're going to build one stair at a time." Now, she said, "You're going to have some problems when you get to breaking the atmosphere because you might not be able to breathe, but then you're going to have to find something to help you breathe. And when you figure out how to breathe, then you can take another step to it." So
Oh, I
that,
love it. I love it.
I said, "Okay, well, there's just no winning with you, I guess." She said, "Exactly. So whatever it is that you want to do, you can do it. You can do it." And here it is. I look at my daughter. My daughter is just not going to work for somebody for the rest of her life. She just doesn't have it in her. And this child listens to business, online seminars. And so I'm like, I have a 21-year-old really listening to how to start your business, speeches online. I said, this is unbelievable to me. But every day she wakes up, she stones her garments, she mails them out. She's learning. She did the licensing and trademarking. I thought, what? Okay,
So
what?
so stop, because I made a mistake. I let you get off the show the other time. We were talking about her and we didn't properly plug her and her business. So right
Oh,
now, right here, shout them
yeah.
out. Let folks know where they can go and support this young lady.
So it's Stoned University. Okay, and you can find her on Facebook and well, of course Instagram because they love the gram. But it's Stoned University. So I am so proud of her.
Now the
Uh,
clothing, tell them I had to jump in.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
what type of gear it is? Does she? She explained the whole stoning process, and I think some people call the term bedazzle. Didn't she? She
yes,
gets the extra bling. Okay.
yes. And listen, my daughter has been stoning. Matter of fact, she started stoning for the dancers. And I do mean dancer, like all dancers, even pole dancers, all of them. My daughter does not discriminate. So she would take the garments and stone them and make them all pretty and bling them out and in unique ways.
So what
And
exactly does the stoning do? Does it? Does it like does it make him look distressed or
Just
worn or
makes
what?
it just gives it a little touch of, but for a dancer, the importance of stoning helps the audience see you
Oh, okay.
because stages are dark.
Yes.
That's why performers have to wear heavier makeup and the costuming that's shiny and bright. And so
Gotcha.
the stoning helps to make the performer seen by the audience in a dark environment.
Okay.
So that's, essentially the necessity of it for a dancer or performer. But for us, Stone University, she just takes the Stone University logo and she bedazzles that. Now, also, she makes other accessories, boxes, and because she can stone anything. Um, but so anything that you can imagine that can be stoned, she will stone it.
Beautiful.
So if you have something and you want it, you can send it to her, or she can get it and do it, and
Give them that Instagram.
um,
Give them that contact information. So they can follow her
yeah,
and can
yeah.
contact her again.
So it's just Stone University. You can contact her on Instagram or Facebook. I'm sure she has other social media, but they hide it from us. Um,
Wait a minute. I got to tell you this funny story. Since you went there, I got it. And I've never told this story on camera. So that is so true. And I learned that. I almost got my feelings hurt. You know where I learned it from? From
Who?
Boogie.
Oh,
And I think it was on Facebook. So she had like a Facebook page,
yep.
and she's not on it a lot. But I accidentally stumbled because I was trying to post stuff, and she's like her mom. She like what I'm doing. They don't want no parts of any camera. They don't want
Right.
any limelight. Now Allie's a little different, because she's model. She didn't really like it, but she was like a child prodigy as a model. So
Right.
and it was a switch. When she hits that stage, she's a super duper model. But when she's off the stage, she's like, okay, leave me alone.
Extrovert.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I learned that, and I was like, Boogie. Oh, I know what it was, Keela. I kept trying to. I kept sending Boogie like a friend request.
Oh, request. Yeah.
And she never accepted it. So I asked her, I said, what you doing? She's like, in essence, she was like, well, no, because I knew you're gonna be posting pictures. To this day, still, I guess that friend request has disappeared. I never got that accept. So then she never hit that accept button to accept her daddy on Facebook as a friend.
Listen, my daughter got so many fake pages, so that I don't know what's really going on. I just don't even bother because now she's 21. But she shocked me. She said, "Mom, uh, we were talking, maybe she was 17, 16 at the time." And she said, "Oh, Mom, I've had a Facebook since I was 7."
What?
I said, 7?
7, my God.
Where was I? But you know what? I don't care how close you think you watch it as a mother. You can never know what these children are doing.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, you do your best. You do your best snoop job that you can do. But I'm here to tell you that they outsmart you because I outsmarted my mother a few times too.
And now your baby got you. She is continuing in the tradition. So you taught the DNA has been passed down.
That's right.
That is hilarious. So now I know you got one or maybe two some really funny because I love that story about because I can relate to it because the same thing. I found out the hard by accident. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
and still haven't got that Facebook friend accepted.
All right.
I don't even ask. As a matter of fact, I don't even talk about it.
still waiting.
You just triggered me because I don't even bring it up with her no more.
Yeah, I mean, and I get it because as young people, you want to be able to freely express yourself. And I know that when my daughter posts certain things on the Facebook that she allows me to follow her on, I might say something,
Yeah.
and she's like, I can say what I want to say and blah. And so I just, I stopped. I just, but I did tell her, now you pay, when you post some crazy stuff, I'm not going to like it or, comment on it or share. I just ignore it. And she knows, she'll say, oh, you must didn't like that, that post I made because I won't support it. I'll say, nope, nope.
And she has
But
a business, and one thing, and I know you, so I know you've told her
yes,
this like thousands of times, so where she can quote a chapter and verse,
yes,
is that what you post, that's is in the universe forever. You can just because you deleted it doesn't mean
that's
that
right.
it's not deleted in this all these clouds and this Twitter and it's there. It is in that
Yeah, it
digital
sticks to you
universe.
like glue.
Yeah,
It sticks to you like glue.
that's right.
So,
Be
I
careful.
tell them be careful. But, sometimes as a parent, as we celebrate Mother's Day, a lot of parents have, uh, you pick your battles,
Yeah,
you know,
true.
and even as a child to a parent, you know when to back off.
Yeah, right.
Like, this is going too far. Let me shut up before this gets really ugly. But yeah, as a parent, you say, you know what, they're growing, and you gotta let them make some mistakes on their own so that they learn. And that's my daughter for sure. My daughter is a ranking member of the Brick Wall Society of America. She just likes to learn it on her own.
Now, how much of that did she get from her maternal genes, and how much from her paternal genes?
That's definitely her dad.
Oh, is it okay? Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely her dad.
So
Um,
let me ask you
I'm
something.
more
As
thoughtful.
okay, as a mother, let me ask you these, and then we got to talk about your mom because I know I just remember some of the conversations we had when we worked together in Detroit. So I know there's rich stories about you and your mom. What's what's the most important lesson that your daughter taught you as a mom, and what's the greatest gift and joy that you've gotten or that you get as a mother?
My daughter taught me to listen and just be still and don't comment. Now, initially, I had to just about tie myself down, but she really taught me to listen and then pay attention. So, what I would do is I would shut up, listen to what she had to say, and then snoop. And that's how I found out that she listens to she well, you know what? I said it on the show. So she's going to know now that I've heard that, but I never mentioned that to her before. I just hear her doing it and I don't comment.
Hmm.
I leave her alone, and because I do that, I'm often surprised at some of the great decisions she makes. So,
That's a reflection on you. That means that the
yeah.
lessons, when you, because a lot of times, and that's the beauty of being a parent. Because I was about to raise my hand, that my girls taught me patience.
Mm,
And
mhm,
Allie really taught me to listen better. Because she,
mhm.
she literally said it. Dad, you're not listening. As a matter of fact, she repeated, she is me in a teenage, or now she'll be 20 in November, but just a young woman's
So
body.
funny. You said she's dead. You're not listening.
Oh, man, if I had $1 for every time she said, Dad, you're not listening to me, I'd be rich. Oh, no, Allie's like, no, Dad, you're not listening to me. You're not listening. You are not listening.
What is something that you would say to Allie that, like, what is a situation where you feel like you've got to talk to Allie and not listen? She needs to listen to you.
Wow, that's a good question. Now, I don't, because, when you talk
Well, I mean,
about,
back when she was younger.
oh, I can't pick one. That's, man, can we have like one of those wheels, one of the big wheels? Like, what's the
Yeah.
show? The Wheel of Fortune? Just spin the wheel, wherever it stops, whatever it's just,
So was it you, or Damaris, who was more of the parent that would talk you, and try to reason with you more.
Okay, so I got to separate these. The obviously you know the answer to the question, who's the one that's talking the most. You already know you the work with. Now the one that would reason initially organically, oh, without a doubt, the Damaris, still to this day.
Yeah.
But I've gotten better because literally, even there was one time, as a matter of fact, my guest is on tomorrow. We were having a conversation, the four of us, and man, dude, I asked for a key and I got it, an earful. Even the Damaris was co-signing. Yeah, you don't listen. You don't listen. So I learned it, but I adjusted. Now Damaris would probably say, well, he a little better, Key, but Damaris knows you, so she gonna give you the straight no chase. She like Keela, look. He think
Well,
he think he really got knowledge better, but he really only got just a little bit.
it just amazed me that I was a child who listened to their mother, but a mother who didn't listen to their child. So go figure.
But I think but you know what? Listen, Key, it's organic because we want to protect our kids. We
Yeah.
don't want them to make the same mistakes. We don't want them to be hurt in any kind of way. And like
Yeah.
you said, sometimes, and I had to learn this, it's just it's like you pour a foundation, you build a house, and you lay the foundation, and then okay, sometimes if the storm comes, the hurricane or tornado, if the foundation is solid, the house may give a little bit, but it's not gonna fall down. But
No, absolutely.
yeah, some things. There's just some things because we can't be with them 24/7, every second. So all we can do, like you just do the best that you can and pour the foundation. And like you said, you were pleasantly surprised. I'm always pleasantly surprised how my daughters, when you didn't necessarily think, well, not that they weren't listening, but in my case, like Alec, just tune you out because the dad, I know you said it like over and over.
Anytime.
I can quote it like chapter and verse. Yes, I open my mouth and she'll finish the phrase. I know, Dad. Yes, Bob A B C.
Yeah, I look at my sister and I, and to see that just how that worked out. My sister gained all the fun, wild craziness of my mother, and I gained or took all the practicality and her talent, because my mother worked in PR and voice work as well. So it's just funny when I look at my sister and I, how we both possess those sides. And my mother told me before she passed away, she was like, girl, you need to have a little more fun.
Wow. When your mother tell you that, it's like you need to schedule a girls trip. Listen, girl, we need to do like what was it, Taraji and all of them, and Queen Latifah.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
my sister that's a comedian. I forget. Yeah, just
You need to
you,
get out
right.
and have some fun. And my sister, it was interesting because you wouldn't think. She told my sister that, boy, you got the spirit in you. And I thought, that wild child. Boy, my sister is Bible Betty.
What you say, Bible Betty? Well, she already got it out of her system, so she good now. She's like, okay.
Well, no, she still do Saturday night.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And then get up on Sunday morning.
Right. And
But
Father, forgive me, but I sure in the hell had a great time last night.
and that's my sister for sure. She never had children, so my sister is she is me, and her name is Mia. Me.
See, me, it's a song. Mia, me, myself, and Mia.
So my daughter, as our only one,
Oh, wow.
because I only had my daughter, she's like, my sister is the auntie mama. and shout out to all the auntie mamas.
Yeah, it's a lot of them.
Um, she is the auntie mama that she could go to and talk to about anything.
Mhm.
And she could talk to me about anything too, but she just felt a little more comfort.
Different
And
voice. Sometimes they just need to hear from a different voice.
yeah, and then my sister breaks it down in this fun, funky, hip, kind of cool way. And I'm more like, oh well,
Practical, like you said, practical,
right.
pragmatic.
So yeah, and then my sister's like, okay, I mean, my daughter's like, Mom, okay, you answered the question like an hour ago. Talking.
It sounds like she sounds like Allie talking to me. What is the best thing about being a mother?
Oh, wow. Best thing about being a mother. Wow. That's a good question, Gino. Um, I think it's the opportunity to, I mean, well, first of all, it's knowing that you did this amazing thing. You gave life
Yeah.
to, I mean,
Yes, literally brought the life
um,
into the world. Yeah.
right. Now, that comes with a lot of angst because then you're responsible for that life.
Right.
But then on the other side of that, when you see that life thriving, you're like, oh, I did it. I mean, it wasn't pretty, but I mean, the baby's pretty, but which, you know, getting them to the
the
proverbial finish
the
line.
journey and all the trials and tribulations and yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, and then you have these moments. So it's like, it's not just one thing. It's the graduation from kindergarten into first grade.
Yeah,
It's
I remember that.
eighth grade into high school,
Hmm.
and oh my God, and then the mega one. Off to from high school to college, and then from college, we're getting ready to approach that one
Yeah.
next.
I've gone through that with Boogie. That's yeah, that is
Yeah.
yeah, that's a wonderful
So
feeling.
those
Yeah.
pivotal moments, those are, uh, I can't look at it as one single thing, but you get to enjoy all of these pivotal moments and you get to see how strong you are and how strong they become.
Hmm.
I mean, that is awesome to see them fight through life's obstacles. And I know that parents, we want to take the credit. We want to say, "See, I told you, I did that." But the miracle and the joy for the parent is they did it
Yeah.
on their own.
Hmm.
They figured it out. So that's what I'm most happy or proudest of when I think about parenting. Just watching her get through those pivotal life moments and challenges. It starts out with, oh, I don't know how to sew. Mama, can you? And then it ends up,
Yes.
I got to figure out how to pay for this book that I need for college. And I wouldn't pay for it. So I was proud. And then that's going to turn into, how do I buy a house?
Mm.
She's already talking about that now.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
wonderful.
So yeah, just pivotal things like that.
So,
Um,
Key, you know what? It is one thing, and you describe what the one thing is. It's the journey, like we were talking. It's
yeah,
the journey.
yeah,
It's
it's
the
the
journey,
journey.
and the beautiful thing, because life is a relay race. Your mom
Yes.
ran a race. She gave you the baton, but
Yeah.
you still running the race. But it's like, okay, I'm running the race, but now you're gonna be the lead anchor. So now you
Yep.
got the baton. Now, girl, we poured all this into you. Now you go run.
Yeah.
Take this
Yeah.
baton.
Yeah. I mean, and Gino, I had a stroke last year. Well, 2019. It was the end of 2019.
Yeah.
That put a lot of responsibility on my daughter.
Wow. Yeah.
She had to fight through that and figure out, the mother daughter dynamic. although I bounced back pretty quickly, so I was able to tell her I'm still the mama child now.
Well,
You know,
I was just going to comment and just give credit for the Almighty because
yeah,
people would look at you and they've been watching you and nobody would ever know that. So, wow, if you are the testament to some great doctors, nurses,
yeah,
therapists, and to the Almighty because
yeah,
you would be the poster child for recovery from
yeah.
that's so glory be to the man. And I thank him because I'm glad that I would never know had you not told me because you the same old key to me.
Yeah, yeah. But but I'm telling you, Gino, that dynamic, that parent-child dynamic,
Yeah,
when I was sick, it was flipped a little bit.
yeah, I
And
could imagine.
boy, that was different. I was like, whoa. Now I'm the mama here.
Right.
I will rise up out this bed.
See, that was
And
that pride and ego. You had to just check that. Like, wait a minute, hold on. Okay, let me just.
give me that cane and let me tell you who the mama is. Um, but it was amazing to see that she she could flip
Yeah.
into the responsible
Hmm.
role and
Yeah.
let me
She
do
she
this.
stepped up. She
Yeah,
you carried her all those years. So she's like, hold on, I got you. And I know you
yeah,
coming back, but just chill. And that is hard because when you are the caregiver, you like in the parent, and mentally in your ego, and she's like, look, I got you.
yep.
Because like your mind is telling you, I can do this, but your body was like, sit your ass down. And she
Right,
was
right,
like,
right.
she like, Mom, I got you. I got you. That's a blessing, Key. A lot of
No, it
folks, yeah,
is. It
that's
is.
such a blessing.
But quickly, I started to recover. So then I had to stamp that down because she was enjoying being the
I
boss.
can imagine. She's like, now I'm gonna get up back for all them time. Now,
Like, no,
you sit down. I told you to sit yourself. She's like, hold
you're
on
not
now.
the boss.
You rose up, Keith, like a phoenix rising from the ashes. That mama, she said, hold on
I
now.
said, okay. Like Oprah, what did Oprah say now? At the table on the color purple. Sophia back.
That's right.
Miss Keela back. So she it was interesting to see that power shift
Yeah.
and the power dynamic in her in real time and see it before I was of an age where I may not have recognized it. Um, but now, everything is back to normal. I'm mama again.
I know.
And she's daughter.
Speaking of
Uh,
mama, before we let you get out of here, I want you to
yeah.
go ahead close the show. Like I said, I know you got some wonderful stories, but whatever is whatever's in your heart, whatever makes you smile or cry, whatever the one story that you just want to share, just with the world, or just share because it means that much to you about your mom, or maybe the one story that that would encapsulize. If this was a movie, if you wanted to know who my mother really was, this story, this is who she is.
Okay, well, listen. Okay, so first of all, happy Nurses Week to everybody so that I don't forget, including to your mom, Gino. Those first responders, as you mentioned, I mean, what a year and a half they've had
Yeah.
with COVID. So God bless them. And it's also teacher appreciation.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
So to all the teachers, including myself. So, I'm a
Yes.
mom and a teacher.
Salute.
So I just wanted to mention that, on the show before I forgot. So a funny story about my mom and a little hint this was just our world. My mom said, I said, oh, I got to find me a good man who's got $1 billion in the bank. And I was using billions, honey. I skipped over millions. $1 billion in the bank, and you got to have a Mercedes or whatnot, and look good and be this tall. And so she said, so let me get this right, Keela. She said, you 5'2" and you want a tall man. She said, you want a billionaire and you ain't even a thousandaire. She said, "You cute." She said, "But you want the top model here."
Lord, your mom.
She said, "So it seemed like you out of line with reality." She said, "Let me give you some advice. You want to be the man that you want to meet."
Wow.
And she said, "And I don't mean I want you to act like a man. You got to be a little more evenly yoked in what your expectations are."
Wow.
She said, "So you better bring something to the table because I'm here to ask you, well, what would that man want with you?
Wow. And
What you got going on?"
this is your mother, but you know what, Key? This is so, it's so amazing.
Yeah.
This is, I did an audiobook. I published a book like 10 years later about relationships. And that was one of the things that I talked about. People have these unrealistic, and men, that it goes the same for men.
Yeah.
Well, you wanted to be this and that, fine and body and making money and blah blah blah. It's like, yo, but dude, you ain't exercising 20 years and your waistline is like a 60 and
Right. Right.
right, you ain't got no
Right.
hair on, you're missing a couple of teeth. Wait, hold on, partner.
Right.
Why would she? No disrespect, but she got options.
Right.
You understand? She got options now. Now, if we're gonna be straight about it, come on, dude. You
Come
you,
on now.
you go when if you ain't been to the gym, I'm gonna just take you to the gym, partner. Here's some.
And introduce you.
You got some competition out, so just understand you competing with, and
Yeah.
they leaving the gym, getting in Mercedes and Teslas, and so come on, understand your competition. You know what I'm saying?
So you got to bring something to the table.
Yeah, that's
And
that's
so that was one of the best things that she taught me, that you need to get your finances in order. You need to get your situation in order. If you want a Mercedes Benz, you buy yourself a Mercedes Benz. And
boom.
it's okay if he come with one, but you don't want to ask of others what you're not willing to struggle for and earn for yourself. So that was just that never left me. It has stood out. I share it with other young women that I know, and it was just a great. But my mother was always great for advice. And the last thing I want to say is really to you, Gino. Well, and Kathy is not here, but happy Mother's Day, Kathy.
Yes, Kathy. Happy Mother's Day.
Yep. And I want to say that the day that my mother made her transition, the night before, I told my sister, "Listen, I gotta go to work in the morning." And everybody who knows me, including you, Gino, you know that I worked through that time when my mother was sick with her cancer.
I do.
So I told my sister, "I gotta go to work. So I think mom's gonna pass tonight. But if she does in the morning, don't tell me until my shift is over." And I remember being at the station, and you and Kathy got the call, but you guys didn't tell me until my shift was over. And I want to thank you. That meant something for me. I just wanted to finish the day, and you guys had all set it up. So Donald came to pick me up, my friend, and because I couldn't drive, I was just a mess. But you all went through the show knowing, and
Well,
just took care of me afterwards.
hey,
I never forget that day.
listen, no need to thank me. All right, I'm just, I'm just gonna shut up and just say no need to thank me. I'm just glad that God, God didn't make any mistakes, as my mother said. She said, God don't make no mistakes. My grandmother actually was the first one to say it, and my mother picked it up. So just how we met and got a chance to work together and then to reconnect. God didn't make no mistakes, and I'm honored and happy that I just was placed in that moment for you, for whatever reason, to be a vessel to kind of help in a small way help you get through that. So
Yeah, no, I think my mother did that absolutely on purpose because
oh,
she
I'm sure
knew
she did.
that I would be more comfortable at work
Yeah,
with you all than if I had been by myself.
yeah, no doubt. So listen,
She left me in good hands.
happy Mother's Day
Thank
to
you.
your angel, that angel up in heaven looking down on her baby girl, who all those practical lessons have paid, have paid off in spades, and that wonderful lesson. Thank you, Mama Tyson, because what you taught her. I've been saying is that I taught my daughters. I said, and it's in my book, Game Recognized Game, the real, the raw, and why men do what they do in relationships. I, you can actually still find the CD. I was shocked. I kind of like went to Amazon just to see
Oh,
because
you found it. Good.
yeah, I knew you. I know you can get the book, but I was like, wow, nobody listens to CDs, but they can do digital downloads. And one of the first things in the book, I say, a man will respect you more. Now, fellas, y'all can get mad. I don't care. Okay, it's just the truth. Because if you don't have a daughter, when you get a daughter, you'll understand. I always say, God's retribution to all the so-called players is that you'll have daughters. Then your whole worldview is gonna flip. You'll be from being a player to wanting to protect your daughter from the players and
Yep.
giving her the quote unquote the game. A man will respect you more when he knows that you can take care of yourself. When you don't need him, he will respect you more. And it's just a basic, I guess, law of life, Key. When you have leverage, and that's what your mother was teaching you. It's like, yo, partner, I got a Mercedes. I got the house. The deed is in my name. My name is on the mortgage. I got the title for the Mercedes. I got my own, I got my own stock portfolio. Yeah, you look good. Body look. Yeah, I think we could have some fun. But now I don't need you. I like you. I like to see where we can go. But please don't get it twisted. I am good.
Yeah. Neo, Miss Independent.
That's
Yeah.
right. Right.
And
Before
it's not
Beyonce did the
because,
song, you was
yeah, a man is wonderful. I love men. Trust. Okay. As I blink, bat my eyes, that I can absolutely take care of myself. I want to be a compliment to him, and I want him to be a compliment to me. But and so all you single mothers out there, single women, and raising your children, please honor yourself, but honor yourself enough to know that you don't have to use your independence as a weapon on this Mother's Day. Ask for a little help from a nice man to just be in your life. Yes, you can take care of yourself, but the companionship is something that you can't do by yourself.
true. Good point,
You
Key.
know, so some of you single mothers out there, yeah, I know you got it going on, but he does too.
Right. And just if I could just add to let you beautiful close in life, any person in your life, and this not only applies to the mothers, but to men and everybody. Everybody, anybody in your life, Key, they are one of two things. Absolutely, unequivocally, one of two things. They are an asset or liability. Ask yourself, is this person an asset to me? Do they enhance? Do they help me become the best version of myself? Or are they a liability? If they are a liability, you need to reduce and get rid of your liabilities and treasure and nurture your assets. It's like an account. If you had a stock portfolio and you had a stock in a company that was, you weren't getting any return on your investment and the company was losing money, you were losing money, would you keep that stock, Key? You'd be like, talk to your bro, hey, you know what? We need to sell, get out of this, and let's find another company, another stock to buy and invest, company that is growing, a growing asset. Happy Mother's Day, Key. Happy, happy, happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Let's honor your mom one more time. What's her name?
Hattie Mae Perry,
Or Hetty. I
or
love it. Mama
Hetty.
Hetty. Mama
Hetty
Hetty.
Lewis was her
Happy,
professional name.
happy,
Hetty.
happy, heavenly Mother's Day, Mama Hetley. Happy Heavenly Mother's Day to my grandmother, who I'm named after, Jean Jones. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers and to all the moms in heaven. Happy Heavenly Mother's Day to all of them. Thank you, Key. I love you. I appreciate you. We'll see you next week. Kelia Karson, ladies and gentlemen, doing her thing as always, always repping to the fullest. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you. God, most of all, thank you for letting me do this special Mother's Day and to just really, in long form, just share the story of my mother and allowing us to let Kelia share the story, not just of her mother, but her story as a mother. So, thank you. Please, if you'd like to be a sponsor, if you'd like to advertise on the show, I'd be honored to have you as a sponsor. I'd be honored to have you advertise. Please reach out to me. If you need a pitch man, I'm the king, not the king, the king, a pitch man. Holla at your boy. Holla at me. Leave me a message right here on my YouTube channel or Geno Jones Show at Gmail. That's how you spell Geno with a G and an E. Geno Jones Show at Gmail. Shout out to Mr. Bruce Gage, the official wardrobe stylist and consultant for the Geno Jones Show. Check him out. Do a search on IG, Instagram, Bruce Gage. Also check out flyballthestore.com. And shout out to Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show on Instagram, IG, Kel B Cuttin, KELBECUTTIN. So tomorrow we got a very special show. Tomorrow, Tanel Jones, she is a therapist. She is just a trained professional therapist. And tomorrow's show is gonna be my Mother's Day gift to you is gonna be a show about self-care. And she's an expert when it comes to therapy, mental health, and she is very culturally competent. So Black women have to deal with racism and sexism. So as Black women, your story, just our story as Black people, and as Black women, it's even more complicated because you got the misogyny and the sexism right there with the racism. So from a cultural standpoint, Black women find themselves in a very unique, I've always said, the most disrespected, devalued, unappreciated, unprotected person on the planet is a Black woman. So I'm gonna do my best to address that tomorrow. So Tanel Jones, she will come in, she will have some advice and tips about self-care on this Mother's Day. Even if you don't have anybody in your life, if you don't have your mom or your dad, or if you don't have a man in your life or a significant other or whatever, you got yourself. And God lets you wake up to, as my grandfather said, take a breath, and put your feet on the ground and have your senses. It's a gift. So celebrate it. And you can't take care, because so many women and mothers, they're the caregivers. They take care of their elderly parents. And, they may have a spouse that they take care of the husbands. They may have a husband who's like a grown-ass kid. So, they could have two kids, and then they got a husband, he act like a child. So, and they're taking care of people at work, and their sorority sisters or neighbors or girlfriends or sisters, nieces, nephews. So the caregiver needs somebody to be a caregiver. So Tanel is going to come on with some tips on self-care, because you can't take care of anybody else until you can take care of yourself. You can't make anybody else healthy and whole until you are healthy and whole. So I'm excited about tomorrow's show. 6:30 p.m. live, 5:30 in Chicago, 3:30 on the West Coast. The Geno Jones Show, daily, live, right here on my YouTube channel. Once again, thank you to Kelia Karson. Thank you for just co-hosting this special Mother's Day tribute edition of my show. Until Friday, kicking off this Mother's Day weekend live, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Once again, thank you for watching. Happy Mother's Day early. Start the celebration now and be blessed.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.